Hello, and welcome to this video about psychology at the ANU. It's fantastic that you're able to join us today. So my name is Michael Plato. I'm a professor, and I also hold the title of Distinguished Educator, which kind of means I have some experience in teaching. So teaching is something that I do, something that I'm really proud of, and I hope to see you here as a student in the years to come. So what I want to do in today's lecture is to review a few questions that you might have. What is psychology? Maybe you don't even know what we do. Maybe the only experience you have is seeing what psychologists do on television. Maybe you haven't had a chance to study it in high school or college. So I want to tell you a little bit about what psychology is, what psychologists do, and then of course what psychology is like here at the ANU. So what is psychology? Well, psychology is the systematic scientific study of the behavior of humans and of other animals and of human thought and emotion. It's probably not the definition that you were thinking of, especially if you haven't studied psychology in the past. But really what we're on about is this scientific study of human behavior, human thoughts, human emotions, and in fact the behavior of other kinds of animals as well. Obviously it's a little more of a challenge for us to study the thoughts and emotions of non-human animals, but we can study their behavior. Hopefully the study of the non-human behavior can give us insight into our own. So psychology, again, is a systematic scientific study. It's a behavioral science in the sense that the conclusions that we draw are based upon the measurement of behavior. Right? We look at what people actually do to come to our conclusions. Now, it's important that we not confuse psychology with psychiatry or psychoanalysis. Psychology is that scientific study that I was telling you about. Psychiatry is a branch of medicine, where if you earn a medical degree, you can, in psychiatry, you can help people with their emotional problems through a medical approach. That's what psychiatry is. And psychoanalysis is simply one of many types of approaches that we can help people with the challenges that they face. It's not psychology in general, it's just one approach to helping people. So don't confuse psychology with psychiatry or psychoanalysis. It's something a little different. Now, it's both a discipline and a profession. Psychology is both a discipline and a profession. What do we mean by that? As a discipline, psychology is a branch of learning, like physics, mathematics, and history. We can study physics, we can study the motions of objects and the planets and so on. We can study mathematics and equations, we can study history and learn about these things. And the same goes for psychology. We can study human behavior, human thoughts in a very systematic, scientific way. But of course, it's also a profession, right? It's a vocation that requires advanced knowledge and training, like medicine and law. You can actually go out and practice the things that you learn in a psychology degree in helping people. And we'll talk a little bit about that today. Okay, so it's a practice or a profession in that sense. So we're a discipline, or we study about things, and we are also a profession where we can actually engage with people and help them. Now, the profession involves applying the knowledge from the discipline. We learn about people through the discipline, through that systematic scientific study, and then we take that knowledge based on evidence, and we apply that to our work helping helping people. All right. So when we study psychology as a discipline, the scientific study of behavior emphasizes two things. One of them is research methods, and the other one, of course, is research ethics. So when we do study human beings, there's a particular way of going about it. It's not just about us sitting down at our desk and thinking about how people might behave or reflecting on our own behavior or the behavior that we've observed in others. We actually go out and create laboratory experiments. We create little environments where we ask people to do certain tasks and we observe what they're doing. Okay, ask them questions about how they're feeling. All right, and of course, given that we're working with people, we do have to follow a particular research ethics guidelines, right? We can't just do anything we want. We need to behave in accordance with very strict rules on how to interact with people so we don't treat people poorly. And there, as this example here shows you, there are national Australian standards for ethical conduct of research, and we follow them here at ANU, in fact, everywhere in the country. What do psychologists do? Well, there's a whole range of different things that we can do. And some areas of study in the discipline are these things that I've listed here: developmental psychology, learning, cognitive psychology, biological basis of behavior, perception, social psychology, clinical psychology, health psychology. There are others that I've left out, but these are just an example of some of the things that psychologists do. So let's click on one and see what it tells us. So this is developmental psychology. If you want to become, say, a developmental psychologist, you would study the physical, perceptual, that is how we kind of perceive the world; cognitive, that's a fancy word for our thoughts, okay, a cognitive, social, and emotional development from birth until death. How do we change physically, emotionally, cognitively, mentally, socially, as we go from infancy to old age throughout our lifespan? This is the kind of thing that a developmental psychologist would study. You might be interested in cognitive psychology. This is the study of higher mental processes such as attention, memory, thinking, reasoning, language, and problem solving. Right? So these are all the different kinds of mental activities or cognitive activities that cognitive psychologists study, and you can study as well. You certainly will learn about them in our classes here at the ANU. And I'll do one more because this one happens to be my favorite, since this is what I do. I'm a social psychologist, and what I do is I study how people affect one another's thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. So it's not just us alone, it's us in a context with other people. How do we affect others' thoughts, feelings, and behaviors? How do they affect our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors? And this can include things like helping, aggression, stereotypes, leadership, prejudice, fairness, trust, cooperation, all those things we study as social psychologists, and many of those are the things that I study myself. So all very interesting stuff. So a range of different kinds of things that we can study in the discipline. But what do we do in the profession? Okay, when we apply that scientific knowledge? Well, we have clinical psychologists, health psychologists, organizational psychologists, educational psychologists, sports psychologists, forensic psychologists. And again, I've just given you a subsample of the different kinds of ways that the knowledge is applied in the profession itself. So let's look at, for example, clinical psychology. Now, clinical psychology is interesting because, and important in this lecture today, because you can study to become a clinical psychologist here at the ANU. So clinical psychologists are concerned with the assessment and treatment of a wide range of psychological and general health problems affecting adults and children. This is probably your stereotype of what psychologists do, helping people with their emotional problems. And this is something that you can learn how to do here at the ANU. Okay, you can earn a master's degree in clinical psychology, or even a PhD, a doctorate in clinical psychology. Organizational psychology, maybe some of you are interested in that. This is the study of behavior in organizations, including group decision-making, leadership, power, communication, negotiation, and collective action. Okay, These are the kinds of things that you might be interested in if, when you finish your degree, to go work for a company or some organization where you can help them in these different types of topics. So there's a wide range of applications of the knowledge that we gain through the discipline of psychology. So what's psychology like at the ANU? Well, we have, first of all, dedicated degrees in psychology. We have lectures that cover a wide range of topics, most of the topics that I've already shown you, plus others. And we have laboratory classes from first year. That means small classes, 25 students only. You get to know the other students, you get to meet other people, you get to work with them, you get hands-on experience in the discipline of psychology, actually working, designing studies, conducting experiments, interpreting the data, discovering things about human behavior, human thoughts, and human emotions. Now, psychology at the ANU prepares our students for professional training in a range of areas of psychology, including clinical psychology. Okay, and this can lead to careers in research, education, personnel, management, and a whole variety of different kinds of pathways. So let's take a look at what your courses would look like in psychology if you came here in your first year. In semester one, we have a single course that covers these three topics at the moment. Cognitive psychology, that's the mental processes. Developmental psychology, that's change over the lifespan. And research methods, because remember I said that research methods are important. We need to know how to go about studying people, studying ourselves. Okay, easier said than done. Okay, and there's a lot of information we need to know, a lot of techniques we need to engage with to make sure that our conclusions are reliable and valid conclusions about human behavior, thoughts, and emotions. So that's our first semester course. In our second semester course, we teach a combination of social psychology, which is what I told you about, personality psychology, which I haven't mentioned yet, and the biological basis of behavior. Personality psychology is studying those things that make us different from each other, our uniquenesses, our individual personalities. And the biological basis of behavior, of course, says, look, we can't have thoughts without a brain, without neurons, without neurotransmitters. How do all those things combine to affect our behavior, our emotions, and our thoughts? Okay, really fascinating topics. And in addition to those two courses in our first year, we offer a course that we just started called the Well-Being Formula. This is not part of the required sequence. It's an elective that we offer you, but it's been a very popular course, really just about letting students understand how to go about almost helping themselves. What does psychology teach us about maintaining and enhancing our psychological well-being? Okay, and a lot of students really found this to be very engaging and very helpful. So yeah, please sign up for that one too. It's a really fascinating course. In second year, we have quite a few. I'll put them all up. Courses. Let me see. Oops. So here we have, again, an entire course now on the biological basis of behavior, an entire course on cognition, an entire course on development. Here we have an entire course on forensic and criminal psychology. We have a course on contemporary issues in clinical psychology, an entire course on social psychology, and we continue with our education to you in research methods in psychology. So we're teaching you more advanced methods of how to study human behavior, thoughts, and emotions. It's a challenge in itself, and it's really important that we continue these methods courses. Okay, some of these courses are required for your degrees, and some of them are electives. Okay, The forensic and issues in contemporary clinical psychology are electives. And in third year, I'll put all these up as well. We've got a range of courses as well. Again, advanced research methods, health psychology, industrial organization, neuropsychology and cognitive neuroscience, social psychology of group processes. That's an absolutely outstanding course because that's my own course. So you've got to hang out there and stick to it and come in to take that course. It's a, of course, it's my favorite, right? It's the course that I teach. Personality psychology. We have special course for students in the Bachelor of Psychology honors, where you can undertake research just one-on-one with a lecturer. We have psychopathology across the lifespan. These are psychological problems that people have across the lifespan. And then we have visual and cognitive neuroscience. So again, some of these are electives, like my course is an elective, but as is health psychology and industrial organizational psychology, as is the undergraduate research experience. So some of these are electives. You can choose to take them if you want. You don't have to take them if you're not interested. Other ones are required for the sequences. At ANU, we've got three broad areas of excellence: clinical and health psychology, cognition and perception, and social psychology. These are ANU's real strengths. If you're interested in these, you're coming to the right place. So why study at the ANU? Well, we have a research-driven education from first year, and we don't shy away from this. We think that this is a strong point of what we're offering you. Okay, this is not just about thinking about what people do. This is about going out, systematically studying what people do, think, and feel. Okay, so everything that we teach you is based upon evidence gained from research. But it's not just that we are teaching you about research, we are teaching you how to do research. As I said, we've got laboratory classes from first year. It's hands-on. You're actually doing things in small groups, working to understand how to study and understand other humans. Okay, we are ranked among the top 35 psychology departments in the world and the top 35 universities in the world. Okay, it's an excellent place to be. We're very proud of our ranking. We think that we think and we know that we offer you an outstanding education. A vast majority of ANU graduates that were sampled are satisfied with their studies, like what they've done, good outcomes there, and our ANU graduates have outstanding job prospects at the completion of their degrees. So really good reasons to come and study here at the ANU. And studying psychology at the ANU means world-class teachers actively involved in cutting-edge research, as well as engagement with the community, clinical practice, the Department of Education, Defense. So all of us are excellent teachers. Many of us have teaching awards, national teaching awards. Okay, all of us do research ourselves. And we're engaged not just in telling you about the evidence, but we're engaged in creating that evidence ourselves. And many of us have direct engagements with the community. That is, our clinical psychologists maintain separate clinical practices. We've got people who are working with the Department of Education. We have people who are working for the Department of Defense, and so on. So we've got people actively engaged outside the university environment who you can work with directly. You have the ability to engage face-to-face with lecturers and tutors, and not to be stuck at home alone, interacting only with the computer. Well, in these COVID times, there may be slight caveats to that. We pride ourselves absolutely on having you come onto campus to meet us, to be in class, to be physically present, to engage in the laboratory classes. That is a strength that we value and we promote. As I said, laboratory classes associated with nearly every undergraduate course. Nearly means there's only one that it doesn't. That's that first year well-being course that I talked about. It's the only one without laboratory classes. Every other undergraduate course has a laboratory class. Independent research opportunities. I mentioned that in the third year electives. In third year, you can sign up for courses where you individually or in a small group of 2, 5, 10 students collaborate with a lecturer to conduct research over the course of a semester. This is before honors, okay? Before you get to honors, before you get to a master's, before you get to a PhD, you can actually start doing research yourself at the third year level. Students love it. They really love it. They get engaged in it. They make discoveries. And some of these are actually published in professional journals. It's real research. It's not play. It's not just demonstrations. It's good stuff. We have courses across a range of psychological topics. I went through and showed you all the different topics that we've got. And this is an accredited pathway to both the discipline and the profession of psychology. You can be assured that you will be able to continue on with further study and further practice in psychology if you study here at the ANU. Of course, ANU has fantastic libraries, other on-campus facilities, extracurricular activities. It's a beautiful campus, and we've got, it's an incredibly diverse group of students, many international students and domestic students, not from Canberra. Students from all over, meeting each other, engaging, forming friendships, finding out about things. It's fantastic. So what are some common questions? If psychology is a science, can I study it with an arts background? Absolutely yes. Yes, as I said earlier, you can complete the accredited psychology sequence that will allow you to do honors or the Masters of Professional Psychology, even with a Bachelor of Arts. How long do I need to study psychology to become a psychologist? Well, you actually need to be in some form of study by law, not ANU rules, but by Commonwealth law for 6 years. Okay, I know it sounds like a long time, but let me explain. That would be 3 years of your first undergraduate degree, and one pathway would be a 4th year of honors, and then 2 years of the clinical masters to make a 6-year program. If you go through the Masters of Professional Psychology, that would be 3 years of the undergraduate, plus 2 years of the Masters of Professional Psychology. And then you still need an additional year of kind of like on-the-job placements where you're getting continued training out there in the workforce. Okay, but it's still not until after the end of that 6th year that you can call yourself a psychologist. That's not just the ANU, that's across the entire nation. Again, as I said, it's Commonwealth law. What kinds of skills do I learn as a psychology student? You learn hands-on how to learn about humans, how to learn about emotions, how to study our thoughts, how to understand our behaviors. Those are the key actual hands-on courses that we give you. But we also, you know, through your psychology degree, you also learn how to work with others as part of a team, how to communicate in psychology speak, how to communicate the information of psychology both to a professional audience and to a non-professional audience. And that communication is mostly in written form, but it's sometimes verbally as well, where you might have to be asked to stand up and explain things to your classmates, okay? Don't worry if you're a little nervous about standing up in front of a group, not a problem. We understand that. We are psychologists, right? We know about that. We will support you and you will do it and you will succeed, all right? So fantastic skills that you can learn as a psychologist. How can you find out more about information at the ANU? Well, here's a link you can click on. It takes you to our webpage. Browse around, click on the different links, find out about who we are, who the academics are, what kind of research is going on, what the courses are like, and so on. How can I find out more about psychology in general? Well, the Australian Psychology Association has a fantastic website that will give you more information about psychology in general and psychology in Australia as a whole.